Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Ships rest quietly, sailors look half asleep, and the highlight of the morning is a donut fight. History seems boring, perfect timing for chaos to break in. Out of nowhere, the sky glitches. A glowing scribble forms overhead, like a kid went wild with a yellow highlighter. Sailors tilt their heads upward. Reality just got a patch update. From the glowing scribble, something ridiculous blasts out. A sleek modern jet, drawn as badly as everything else. It roars across the harbor like a paint layer pasted over the wrong decade. The Japanese Zeros finally appear, ready to unleash chaos. But instead of sleepy biplanes, they find a jet that looks like someone copy-pasted the future into their war. This isn't just a mismatch, it's a historical glitch. The first clash comes fast. The Zeros open fire, filling the sky with lines of bullets. But they bounce off the F-35 like it's made of cheat codes. One crooked missile later, and the first Zero is erased from existence with a puff of smoke. Welcome to the upgraded version of 1941. Wave after wave of enemy planes floods the sky, blotting out the morning sun. The harbor turns into a storm of buzzing wings and roaring engines, as though the entire horizon has declared war at once. The modern jet suddenly disappears from sight. The attackers, unable to track it, tear across the harbor in confusion, firing wildly into the empty sky. For a moment it seems like the impossible machine has vanished completely. Just as suddenly as it vanished, the jet reappears in the middle of the chaos. It unleashes a storm of firepower, ripping through the formation in seconds. Enemy planes burst apart and vanish from the sky one after another. An enemy fighter manages to dive dangerously close, nearly clipping the wing of the jet. For a heartbeat, the sky seems seconds away from a deadly collision, until the jet veers aside at the last moment. The jet breaks the sound barrier, unleashing a deafening shockwave across the battlefield. The blast shoves enemy planes backward through the sky, as if history itself is being rewritten in an instant.
The sky above the harbor is no longer blue. It's a swarm. Enemy fighters keep pouring in, blotting out the horizon like a living storm. On the ground, soldiers scramble in chaos as the modern jet rises to meet the impossible wave.
The jet unleashes its full arsenal. Missiles streak in every direction, slicing the sky with white trails. Explosions blossom like violent clouds as entire formations of enemy planes vanish in fire and smoke. Down below, the harbor descends into madness. Sailors leap overboard, supplies scatter across the docks, and ships rock from the shockwaves above. For those on the ground, the battle in the skies feels like the end of the world. The jet dances through the sky with impossible maneuvers, looping, twisting, leaving trails behind like echoes of its own speed. Enemy fighters try to follow, but the chase only ends with collisions, fire, and spiraling wreckage. As bombs rain down toward the harbor, one plummets straight for a battleship. The jet swoops low, fires a missile, and intercepts it mid-air. The blast rocks the harbor, but the ship remains untouched, shielded by a weapon that doesn't belong in this war. The enemy reorganizes, dozens of planes sweeping in formation to overwhelm the lone jet. But instead of retreating, the machine surges forward, splitting the sky in two as it dives straight into the storm. The jet unleashes a rain of firepower. Missiles streak across the sky while its cannon tears through targets in bursts of sparks. One by one, enemy planes crumble, dropping toward the harbor like broken toys. The survivors scatter, their tight formation broken. Planes twist and turn in desperation, engines screaming as they flee the unstoppable predator. The sky that was once a storm of order is now pure chaos. Dozens of wrecks crash down, flames trail behind broken wings, pieces of steel splash into the harbor, and black smoke coils upward. The sea becomes littered with fragments of a battle that never should have been possible. As the smoke clears, the jet hovers above a ruined sky. The harbor is scarred but still standing, spared from devastation. Against impossible odds, one machine has rewritten the opening chapter of the war. The battle fades. Where moments ago the sky was filled with roaring engines, now only smoke and falling wreckage remain. On the ground, sailors and soldiers stare upward in stunned silence, unable to comprehend what they've just witnessed. The strange machine circles the harbor once more, as if checking on the men below. Every eye follows it, torn between fear and awe. In a single sortie, it has shifted the weight of history. Word spreads quickly across the base. A machine that no one has ever seen before has saved the harbor. Officers scramble with maps. Sailors chatter in disbelief. For the first time that morning, the fear is replaced with something else: confusion. What remains of the enemy force scatters and flees. Instead of victorious destruction, the attackers limp away in fragments, leaving behind only wreckage and unanswered questions. The harbor stands in uneasy quiet. The men know they should be dead, yet here they are, alive, saved by a machine that shouldn't exist. History's script has been broken, and no one can predict what happens next. In the aftermath, officers huddle together, trying to make sense of what just happened. Maps, reports, and frantic notes pile up, but no one can explain how one jet just rewrote the entire morning. The only certainty? History's gone off script. By evening, whispers ripple across the base. Some claim the jet was a guardian angel. Others think it's a secret weapon from the future. Nobody agrees, but everyone knows one thing: the war won't be the same after today. Far across the ocean, the surviving pilots land in defeat. Their commanders demand explanations, but all they bring back are wild stories about a silver phantom that erased entire squadrons in seconds. No one believes them. Yet. Back at Pearl Harbor, the survivors begin to realize what they've witnessed. The jet wasn't just a weapon, it was a glimpse of the future. For some, it sparks hope. For others, it's pure fear of the unknown. That day was supposed to be remembered as tragedy. Instead, it became something stranger, a battlefield where the past collided with the future. No one knew what tomorrow would bring, but everyone knew history had just been interrupted. Across America, newspapers rushed to print the story. The attack on Pearl Harbor is front-page news, but so is the unbelievable rumor of a single silver jet that turned the tide. The headlines read like bad science fiction, and yet every word is true.
In Washington, officials gather in urgent meetings. Some see the jet as a miracle, others as a mystery too dangerous to ignore. No one can explain where it came from, but every general in the room knows. They want more of them.
Civilians hear the rumors too. Children draw pictures of the mystery jet, and barroom chatter turns into wild theories about time travelers and alien technology. For the people, it becomes more than a battle. It becomes a legend. Pearl Harbor was supposed to begin America's long climb into war. Instead, it begins with a question. How do you fight an enemy who already met your future? The world is no longer marching into history, it's stumbling into the unknown. Military planners gather again, but this time their maps look different. Every strategy suddenly assumes the presence of a mysterious superjet. The generals stare at their own arrows like they're drawing a cartoon instead of a war. In Europe, the rumors arrive like wildfire. From Berlin to London, spies whisper of a flying machine that defies the laws of war. Nobody knows if it's real, but every commander suddenly sleeps less at night. The what-if spirals further. A modern jet screaming across the skies of Normandy. Tanks rumble ashore while above them, enemy defenses vanish in streaks of fire. D-Day looks less like a desperate invasion and more like a video game speedrun. Another vision, across the deserts of North Africa, Rommel's tanks advance. But a jet from the future slices across the horizon, picking them off one by one. The desert campaign doesn't become a chess match, it becomes a cheat code. In this twisted version of history, every major battle shifts. What should have been years of bloodshed turns into days of mismatched chaos. With one jet out of time, World War II is no longer the same war, it's an unfinished sketch. With the mysterious jet rewriting every battle, the war ends almost before it begins. The Allies celebrate victory years ahead of schedule, confused but happy to skip all the suffering. History teachers everywhere are about to get migraines. Stories spread far and wide about the silver machine that saved the world. Some call it a guardian, others a ghost from the future. Children sketch it in notebooks, while politicians pretend they planned it all along. But soon the world wonders, what happens if the jet doesn't leave? If one machine can erase entire armies, what stops it from erasing everything else? The hero starts to look suspiciously like a god no one asked for.
Instead of waiting until 1947, the Cold War kicks off immediately. Nations scramble to build their own impossible jets, sketching prototypes that look more like doodles than machines. The arms race begins, before World War II is even over. What began as a surprise attack ended as the strangest victory imaginable. The war no longer follows the script we know. Instead, it spirals into a future written by a machine that never belonged there in the first place. What should have been years of bloodshed collapses into months of confusion. The world's greatest conflict becomes the shortest one in history, not because of strategy or sacrifice, but because the future crashed the party early. The jet becomes a symbol for victory, yet no one knows where it came from. Soldiers carve its image into helmets, children draw it on school desks, and generals pretend it was theirs all along. A savior without a birth certificate. For the defeated, the memory lingers like a ghost. Veterans mutter about the silver machine that erased entire squadrons. In every retelling, the jet grows faster, louder, and more unstoppable, turning into a myth their children fear. Decades later, historians struggle to explain the day the future dropped into 1941. Some call it myth, others conspiracy. Textbooks either skip it or write entire chapters in disbelief. History has no footnote for impossible jet. And so the greatest what if of them all. What if a modern jet fought at Pearl Harbor? Instead of disaster, history got a glitch. A cheat code dropped into reality. The war, the world, and the future itself were never the same again.